Why do we use loops and conditional logic in Worksoft Certify? And what do they help us repeat or decide? Often we need to repeat a set of steps like checking a value in a table or processing a list until a specific condition is met. At the same time, we may need to decide what action to take based on certain conditions, such as executing one step if a condition is true and another if it's false. That's exactly what loops and conditional logic are designed for. In Certify, they are essential for automating tasks like approvals, data validation, and bulk processing. And it's important to make sure proper exit criteria is added to avoid infinite loops. Now, let's focus on explicit loops, where you control exactly how and when step repeat. We can incorporate loops using two methods, the record set method using record set and the counter method using jump and label actions. In this video on explicit loops, we'll explore a powerful technique using a counter along with a conditional jumps to control loop execution. This method involves initializing a counter variable and then using a conditional jump to repeat a set of steps until a certain condition is met. To watch another method, please refer to our other video, Explicit Loop using Record Set method. Let's walk through a simple example to see how this works in practice. Say we have 20 simple orders on a table and we need to delete every order with the amount under 5,000. Manually? No thanks. Instead, we'll build a loop controlled by a counter. When counter reaches a defined value, it will exit the loop to avoid infinite looping. Here is the process to achieve this task. Start a counter at 1 to track our progress. And we need to check each row if the amount is less than 5k. If yes, delete it. If not, jump to the next row using label action. After each iteration, we increment the counter. A conditional jump checks whether the counter has reached the limit. If not, it continues to repeat the loop. The most important thing in implementing explicit loop is that we need to have exit criteria as conditional logic to avoid the infinite looping. Here we have two criteria. One is when we loop the step for 20 rows and another one is when no more orders are present in the table. Then exit process. To better understand how this loop works, look at the flowchart. Once the process starts, it checks the amount is less than 5,000. If the condition is true, it proceeds to delete the order and jumps back to continue with the next order. If the condition is false, it jumps back to proceed with the next order. The loop is exited when one of the criteria is met as explained before. We will now execute the process on 4 simple orders to demonstrate how this method works, even though we initially introduced a table with the 20 orders. Here, the process skips the first order since its amount is greater than 5,000 and deletes the second order as its condition matched. Just like this, Certify zips through the table, deleting orders automatically, no endless clicking, no mistakes. That's the power of loops. Here is another pro tip. Counters are not just for tables. Imagine you are waiting for an external event like a system update or approval or report generation that could take 1 minute or even 30 minutes. Instead of using a static wait step for 30 minutes, you can set up a loop that checks for the event once per minute. Use a counter to limit retries, say 30 times max. If the event happens early, exit the loop and continue with the execution. If not, Certify reports a failure and exit the loop or terminates the execution after 30 tries. No time wasted. This way you optimize for both best case where event finishes fast and worst case where no endless angst. So, when should we use each method? Record set method is perfect for repeating the same steps with a different data, like item entries, and counter method is great for row by row decisions like filtering a table based on a specific criteria or waiting for a job to complete or a condition to be met. Thank you. We hope you have found this short video to be helpful and informative. Please visit us online in LinkedIn and YouTube.